Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another session on International Career Talk webinar series by LLB School, IMOT, and TNAU. Today with us, we have Miss Akshaya Selvaraj, who is currently a researcher at TCS and a proud alumni of IIT Madras. She'll be today sharing us about her journey, about various opportunities through GATE and various other competitive exams. So before her presentation, we'd like to announce our recent launch of LLB Futura, which will be connecting students, researchers, and professionals belonging to various fields of biology, biotechnology, and bioinformatics. We provide every possible services to bring biologists and bioinformaticians of today and tomorrow. So if you are willing to join the team, you can sign up using the link provided, that is llbschool.org. So we are expecting collaborations, freelancers, and we also provide services like tutoring and consultancy. So some of the technical notes for the participants in the WebEx as well as in YouTube. Please turn off your microphone and webcam so that there won't be any disturbance during the webinar session. Also, you can type your questions in the chat box as well as in the comment section in YouTube, and the questions should be addressed towards the end of the session. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to know about our upcoming updates and live notifications. And as whoever has registered, so the feedback link is already shared with you. So the link will be activated by 7:30. You can start giving your feedback from 7:30. And make sure you type your details, including email and name, properly so that there won't be any mistakes. And finally, we would like to acknowledge and thank our collaborators, IMOT and TNAU, for their support throughout the session. And Ms. Akshaya, now you can start your presentation. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Good evening. One second. Let me upload my presentation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So hi everyone. So I'm Akshaya Selvaraj and I'm currently working as a researcher in TCS Research and Innovation Lab. So I did my BTech in Bioinformatics from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University in the Department of Center for Plant and Molecular Biology. And then I actually, when I after when I went to the fourth year, in during the late period of my third year, I was under huge stress because we didn't have really good placements in my college, and then that got me to thinking what really opportunities I have beyond BTech. So they were like the main two options. There were two divergence. One is to write GRE and go abroad. Oh, I couldn't afford that. My family couldn't afford that. So the other plan was to write an exam, like an Indian exam, to crack an Indian exam to stay inside India and to look for other opportunities. So in my third year, when I started to look for exams, and at that time, that was the time I came across several exams. So I thought that GATE was really like I'll tell you why I thought GATE was the one for me, and then I joined GATE BT GATE for biotechnology. I joined tutoring for that in GATE forum actually, and I learned through that. But it wasn't. I'll let you know that it wasn't very useful because I had to do a lot of learning on my own. And since I came from a bioinformatics background, I didn't have several subjects that was actually present that was actually required for GATE biotechnology. So I wrote GATE, and then I actually took a course that is called as clinical engineering. It is actually a tri-institute program. It is more or less like biomedical engineering because when I was in plant science, I realized that I wanted the exposure towards medical field. So which is why I took a clinical engineering setup. So that intrigued me more. That's all I could say. So I took this tri-institute program, and so this program is like the first semester I get to be in IIT Madras. So we have a certain set of courses that will be taken in IIT Madras. And then we went to CMC Vellore, where we learned about physiology. And then CMC Vellore is a very good, very good, well established and very, very high end lab in biomedical engineering. So it is one of the best labs in our country, we could say, because of the head over there. And then I went to see Sri Chitra Trinal Medical Institute. It's actually a biomedical wing. It's a central established institute. So over there, for example, you would have heard the first heart wall that is produced in the country. Like, it was actually designed in Sri Chitra. So we still have the scientists who made the first heart wall, still working over there. And then so we got to meet them. We got to we got to learn from the best of the best. To this, I really feel that I got to learn from the best of the best uh, after being in such an institute. So like I said, when I was in third year, and I was going through different, to see what could be my possible future, and I came across these exams. So the first one, GATE, is very common. Like, it is a graduate aptitude entrance exam for all the engineers. So, but there's a major drawback being from bioinformatics for writing biotechnology paper, is that we don't have bioprocess engineering or industrial biotechnology in our subject. So that is one of the greatest drawbacks. But you can actually learn the subjects once you put your mind to it. So that's what I believe. I believe that there's nothing unconquerable unless you put your mind through it. Like, you put your mind and you sit and work for it. So it took me only like 2 months to go through bioprocess engineering, to completely go through bioprocess and industrial engineering. I mean, industrial engineering, those two papers. So I'll actually elaborate on that. I'll be elaborating a lot. I mean, I'll let you know how actually I prepared for GATE each and every bit. I'll come to that part. And then there was actually a very good exam called as BINC, that is nothing but Bioinformatics National Certification. So once you do that, you're actually, once you like, you get the above, I mean, if you get above the cutoff, so you're actually eligible for applying for PhDs in bioinformatics. But unfortunately, this has actually been merged with DBT BET since 2019. So there was actually there is also this bioinformatics industrial training program, which is nothing but BITTP over here, like this one. Sorry, one second. Yeah. So BITTP. So BITTP is also merged into biotechnology industrial training program. So in case of, so the actually DBT BET, if you clear up DBT BET, so again you're eligible for PhD. So you're not really eligible for MSc or MTech in any other way. Only one exam that is actually giving way for you to do an MTech is GATE. And if you're, for example, you're specializing in MTech and you really want to look for a job, so ASRB is nothing but Agricultural Research Board. So they're actually Agricultural Scientist Research Board net exam. So this actually, they have requirements for MTech bioinformatics. So if you in case clear bioinformatics and you're looking for a central government job, this is the exam that you can crack. And uh, so, uh, so if you're really interested in research, I think the best place to, concentrate would be, TAFR exam. So that is Tata Institute Fundamental Research Institute. Tata Institute Fundamental Research, TAFR stands for that. And you can actually write an entrance exam in biology. But if you crack the exam in biology, you can choose bioinformatics actually. And NCBS is one of the best labs in across the world, and it could give you a lot of opportunities. Like, if you're really into research, I think this is the best place to end up than any IITs or IASC. So this is actually better than most of the labs, and NCBS is one of the best labs in case of bioinformatics. They also have a program called as neuroinformatics, that is like neuroscience and bioinformatics together, combined together. So there is an MS as well as a combined PhD program in that. So right now, I'll actually give. First. The first thing is that whenever you write the GATE exam, before you write the GATE exam, you have to know which particular IIT is actually conducting it. So this time in 2021, it is actually conducted by IIT Bombay. And they have made a few differences, like they have changed the curriculum actually a little bit. For example, the number of engineering mathematics questions has been increased to 18 questions. They've increased by 3. So they're giving more weightage for mathematics, and the rest of the syllabus is actually divided into general biotechnology, having microbiology, immunology, and um, one second. Microbiology and technology. And the next you have recombinant DNA technology, and then plant and animal biotechnology and bioprocess engineering. And here also, here in this time, general aptitude paper is common across, like the questions are actually common across all the gate papers. So if a particular day you're getting a paper that has, like, across all the papers, like there are around 26 papers, all the question papers will have the same general aptitude questions. So according to me, I feel that they're going to step up the game in mathematics as well as aptitude. So I guess this year you have to, way more in, like, you have to put a lot of hard work in general aptitude as well as mathematics. So I'm just going to go through each and every single paper, and how much I prepared, like how much weightage I gave, and how I prepared in order to, you know, get a good rank. Okay. So when you generally see, so we have in GATE, we have 2 types of questions. One will be the, choose the right answer. It'll be a, 1 mark. I mean, is it choose the right? You can choose one of the right answers. The other one is a numerical type question. So the best part about numerical type questions is there is no negative mark. So I suggest you to attend each and every numerical question, even though if you're getting it right or not, even though if you have, you know, any even if you have a small doubt, it's okay, you can just give it a try, and you can just, since it doesn't have any negative mark, I think it's okay to give the try. So for example, let's start with bioprocess engineering. When you take bioprocess engineering, we don't really have this in bioinformatics. So this is something you'll have to learn, you have to put in your effort and learn, but this is not very tough. So I'll tell you the best way to learn, like this is what I did when I attempted my GATE in 2018. So I only learned 2 books. I mean, I only learned 1 book for this, Sculler and Kragi. That is more than enough. So learning Sculler and Kragi is more than enough, and it is more than enough to just focus on microbial kinetics, substrate utilization, and product formation, chemostat problems, sterilization principles, because there will be overlap in sterilization principles in microbiology also. So you can learn, like, both of the things you can learn it common, and then there'll be other scale up techniques also. So in the best thing about this is, so the questions are always almost repetitive. Okay, so the numerical types questions are almost repetitive, like there'll be very small changes, so it's best to go through all the papers, see what kind of questions they're asking, and then uh, like thoroughly read and understand the, like, the theory part behind it, like for all the, like, take all the question papers of BT, and then go through all the numerical type questions that is present in bioprocess engineering, and then read the theory for it. That's all that I did, and that's been more than enough. So next, when we go to genetics and molecular biology, I think, when you come from a bioinformatics background, I think this will be like your, you know your best point. Like this is supposed to be your, strong point, because we read a lot, like we like linkages and recombination, chromosome mapping. This is like the daily jargon that we throw around and all that. So I guess it's very, like, they'll ask you very simple questions like with respect to linkage, like what is the probability of 2 genes being linked, and then Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. I mean, that's a very potential question. And even in Mendelian inheritance, like they can ask you like different, like this person has this skid disease, and then if 2 people mate, and then what is the probability of a children having the same disease. So those are like very simple and basic questions. Like in GATE PT, the numericals actually have never been very hard. because it's never been very hard, to be frank. It's actually very easy, and then it'll be only the basic things, like very basic it'll be, but only you should have known like proper, like basic biology, and like if you know the basics of genetics and all that, it'll be easier to answer. It's only been like that. Like when you compare it to gate mechanical paper or something, like the I'm talking about the complexity of the problems is actually very high. It's way harder for them. It's actually very easy for us, and then it's very like we can easily address it and get a good mark. So then we have immunology. I'll say the golden standard is to just go through QBs, and I think it's okay. Like if you're feeling free, if you really want all the main points, you can actually take a screenshot. I don't have any problem with that. So, then when it comes to bioinformatics, since we're from a bioinformatics background, I think like I think you would have seen the bioinformatics questions in GATE. It's very basic. Like they only ask about several databases, and then formats, and then scoring matrices such as point accepted mutations and block substitution matrices, or what is the score for? They'll give you two sequences, and what is likely to be the score of that particular alignment of two different amino acid sequences. So very simple it will be. So then comes microbiology. Microbiology, I think, like I said, to go with antibiotics, and the mode of action of antibiotics is very important in microbiology, as well as sterilization techniques. So those two things are like the basics in microbiology, and I think Prescott is like more than enough. These are the only books that I referred when I was preparing for GATE. And then in case of biochemistry, Leninger is more than enough. Like biochemistry, they haven't really asked very tough questions. They've never asked a question about the cycle or the Krebs cycle or any cycle in that case. So it's actually been pretty easy. In case of recombinant technology, I remember seeing a lot of linked questions in this, like depending upon the digestion enzymes and restrictive digestion, like the tricky questions where you can get like in the linked questions, like there'll be five linked questions with 2 marks each, and then you just get 10 marks if you get all of them right. So recombinant technology has been asked in a lot of linked questions, so you have to be very careful with that. So I went with TA Brown because that was prescribed to me by my. We referred in class, like it was asked by us to refer by my professor. So I just stuck to TA Brown. I didn't even go through Primrose. Primrose is very huge, and there's a lot more information than TA Brown. But I just went with TA Brown. I didn't do anything else, and I just read like the different restriction patterns for different enzymes. So I did that extra thing. Like that is all I did. So yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I didn't even go through plant biotechnology. I completely omitted that. Animal biotechnology. I was actually able to answer a few questions because I came from a um, my college is based in plant. I came from TNAU, so I was able to I was able to answer a lot of questions from plant biotechnology because even though I didn't study. So if you want to study for plant biotechnology, you can refer to Slater. That's the only book that is actually available. That's the only standard book that is there. That is prescribed for GATE. Sorry, the standard book that is prescribed for GATE in plant biotechnology is Slater. So I think that is unanimous. If you guys really want to, but then the amount of questions asked are very few. So I think it's safe to say that it's optional. So in case of process biotechnology, I just did one thing. I just read the product and the organisms that is produced. The products that are produced from certain organisms, like the antibiotic that is actually produced from which organism. Like only I made a table and I just went through that every day. So yeah, so that's all I did. So in case of math and aptitude, I think it's they I think this time they're giving a lot of importance in aptitude and mathematics, because it's safe to say that because there increase in number of questions in mathematics. So what I did was I just I just went through mathematics from the books that I've already learned, because I didn't read from any specific textbook. So aptitude, yes, you have to practice every day, and maths also you have to practice every single day. Just have like an hour for aptitude and an hour for mathematics. In case of aptitude, I think the level of aptitude questions that's been asked in GATE is very minimum. It's very minimum. It's not at all hard. So you can just go with quantitative aptitude that is written by R.S. Agarwal. That level is actually more than sufficient for GATE, because later I had actually prepared for placement exams, and that level of aptitude is way harder. But this was actually very easy. Like, you just go through the basic probability statistics, and then you have to go through the age questions, you know, the father is this age, and find the, like, after 5 years, those kind of questions will be there. I think, and then there'll be even average speed, average distance, and they're asking those kind of the normal things. Those you have to go through. And then I think it's safe to say that I got a question in calculus, but it was like elementary school I mean, the calculus that you read in 11th grade. I was just asked an integration. I remember that I was asked an integration in GATE 2018. So, but it's better to learn determinants, calculus, sequence and series, differential equations. So, because since they've increased the number of questions, I think it's better to go through all the topics that's mentioned in mathematics. So that is my. So hello. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's fine.
Okay, shall I continue?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is a GATE blueprint. So we have around like 65 questions. So out of that, the first 10 questions are meant for aptitude, and the first 5 questions are 1 mark, and the second 5 questions are like 2 marks. So this fetches you 15 marks in case of aptitude, and the rest 55 questions in that. Sorry, I made a mistake. This is actually in case of math. First 1 to 25 questions are in 1 mark, the rest 30 are in 2 marks. And then this 30 questions, there are actually 5 linked questions. So in a single question, they ask you like five, like match the following or something, and then you can easily score like 10 marks. So those two linked questions are actually yeah. So those two linked questions help you in fetching marks. So those questions are very, like, it'll be very easy. I remember, like, in 2018, I was asked like on a like, the question was based on a very simple chemistry. So it was actually, there's a affinity chromatography, and then the material packed was actually in negative. It had negative, I mean, the negative charge. So what? So they're eluting, actually, they're eluting a protein, protein sample. So they were asking which protein sample actually have higher affinity to lower affinity. So you should know that the arginine is positive, and then that will have a more affinity. It was based on a very simple biochemistry, like very simple chemistry, but that could actually fetch you a lot of marks. So to be very careful with those things. And so yeah, so yeah. So this is the kind of plan that I came up with, Gate for Gate BT, and I think like, since we haven't read bioprocess, I guess we should start with bioprocess. To go through it once, and then um, to go through it once, and then actually take it all in, and then read it again. So once you're done with the first reading, it'll, like, when you go for the second revision, that will actually help you with understanding the subject more, because it's the first time we're coming across it. So yeah. And then so here I have actually excluded plant and animal biotechnology, because this gives you like 1 or 2 points, not more than 3 marks. So I think it's very safe to say that you can exclude that. So yeah. And then this is, so if you want to take a screenshot, as I said, you can take it. So yeah. What I did was, I had finished all my studying plan within December, and I just dedicated January for revision. So the more you revise, the more number of times you revise, the better the situation is. So, and I also wanted to add few points. So, yeah, when you're in attending GATE exam, there's actually a calculator. So you have to use that GATE calculator. So since the first time you use that, you might be finding it very uncomfortable. So instead of that, you can actually, there's an app called as GATE calculator. So you can download that app in your phone, and every time you use for calculation, like when you sit and work out your solve a particular paper or anything, you can use that, but use GATE calculator and solve. So that will actually, make you familiarized with the calculator. So there's one that thing. And so if you're actually starting for 2021, I mean, if your idea is to crack BT in 2021, I would say the best way is to go is to solve existing question papers, because actually, to honestly say, there is not many question banks or question papers for the exam sessions for biotechnology, because not many people take it. We have only around like 18,000 to 20,000 people taking GATE biotechnology. So even educational institutions such as Gate Forum and all, they have very, very badly structured question paper. So I mean, except for Pathfinder and AimGate, I don't think anybody else have good question sets or exam sessions. So I would ask you not to invest in that. Instead, you can just you can take the old question papers and go through them, and you can try to solve it yourself. So I would say end all your end all your preparations within December, because we still have time. It's still, you can still, if you start by now, from now, and since you'll be having a lockdown, you wouldn't have many classes. Even if you have classes, you can try to fit in your plan and schedule around, and you can still like crack it and get a really good mark, really good rank. But I would say stop all the studying by December and revise only in January, and practice question papers. Like, you should be thorough with all the question papers, especially the the question papers that has been set by IIT Bombay. Like the previous years, you can take the IIT Bombay set question papers from the previous years, and you can try to solve them. Yeah. So you can, yeah, if you really want to have a common material that for GATE PT, the best one is Pathfinder. You can buy the book. It's a really good investment. Um, you can use it for other exams also. So Pathfinder is the best investment, and even AimGate is fine, but it's not very great because they don't have really good question sets. That's what I felt. So I wouldn't really ask you to invest in that. But if you really feel that you really need to test yourself, you can invest in that. So yeah, like I said, you have to revise, and revise. So yeah, so I want to talk to you about after cracking gate to like a small, just small, opening to that. So if you want to go for MTech, you can apply in different IITs. So in case of IITs, most of the IITs have interviews. So once you crack gate and you get the when you get the result, you have to again start preparing for other IITs and interviews. Only IIT Bombay and IIT Madras do not have any interviews. They like you just have to apply for the institute separately, and then you have to you have to create a um, you have to create an account in COAP. So that is nothing but a portal that shows you where you've been accepted. So individually you have to apply for different IITs. That will be like if you're selected, and it will be shown in the common portal, and you can accept it through that portal. So it is not that you only apply through COAP and then you get into any, it doesn't happen like that. You have to individually apply in different IITs or IASCs, and then only then you can your status of being accepted or not accepted will be projected. So yeah, then the interviews, like, it totally varies. Like for example, I attended a interview in IASC
for neuroscience. So, but most of the questions will be domain based. So, if you're really interested in pursuing research in a particular project, they expect you to know certain things. Like they expect you to know a lot about what's going on in their lab, and then expect you to know a lot about what you want to do. And they also focus on mathematics, like whether let it be IITs or IASC, they want you to have basic maths. Like they really test you during the interviews. So that's all. And so yeah, that's it. Yeah, if I'm open to taking questions, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Akshaya, for the wonderful comprehensive presentation about details of GATE exam and other exams, and also providing us which subjects and areas to concentrate and how to prepare and schedule ourselves for the exam. Thank you very much. We have been posed with several questions.
Okay. So yeah, you can also take on my email ID, and if you really want to talk to me, or you can email me. That is also there. So
Sure, I get that would benefit most of the participants.
yes.
So, yeah,
I'll go to the chat box.
okay, sure, yeah. So, maybe you can share if you want to share the screen also, because there are participants from YouTube who are listening to your talk also.
Okay. Okay. But if I do that, I'm not able to see the chat. That's why I'm.
No, 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 don't worry. I will take the questions and I'll read it. So,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
guess that won't be a problem. So, there is a question. So, shall we start the question answer session?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the first question is about like, as you have already mentioned. So, the question is about like, what are the important topics for GATE 2021, and what topics are there going to be there for this year? Like, I mean, the coming year actually, as you mentioned earlier. But if you have any comments on that.
No, I guess since they've increased the number of mathematics questions, I think it's better to concentrate on mathematics and general aptitude, because that will fetch you really solid marks. Like for example, mathematics is having around 18 marks this time, and then you also have aptitude for 15 marks. If you at least score 20 combined in both, you just have to score like around another 25 in the main subject, and that can be easily scored. So yeah, so I think it's best to practice maths and aptitude every day.
So, these math questions have no negative marks, right?
No, like no. If it is, that's what. Yeah. So if the maths questions are, choose, like you have to choose from one of them. Like if there's a optional type, then you'll have negative marks. If it is a 1 mark, you'll have like 1/3 will be -1. I mean, 1/3 is negative. If it is a 2 mark
Okay.
question, point 0.6. I mean, 2/3 will be negative. But if it is a numerator, you just have to enter the numbers. Like if it is that type, then you won't have any negative marks. That's it.
Okay, if the answer is numerical, then there is no negative marks.
Yeah, if it is an option, there will be negative mark.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is like, how different is GATE Excel from BT? So there are people who are writing for life science and
Yeah.
biotechnology. So for bioinformatics students, what is your preference?
So I guess it's best to go with GATE BT, at least because uh, bioinformatics is actually one of the papers in GATE BT. It is not there in life science at all. So at least there's one paper and there's more, scope to score in BT. But you can also, when you're actually preparing for BT, I think it's also better to go through IIT Bombay's, life science papers. So yeah, if you've been through all the BT papers, and then it's also safe to go through IIT Bombay conducted life science papers. So that's
Okay.
all. Yeah.
So the next question is, other than amino acids or protein structures, is there any specific topic of proteins which we should concentrate for GATE 2020, like protein sequencing or any new technologies in advancement?
No, no.
Or
They've actually never asked such questions.
Mhm.
They only ask about very simple sequencing formats, or like a substitution matrix, and they'll ask us to find the score. It's been very simple. Like you just go through what you've learned in like very basic bioinformatics. If you go through, I think that will be more than enough.
Okay.
Yeah, they've never
So
asked about any high-end technology. They haven't asked it.
so mostly it will be like directly based on the
Yeah,
syllabus.
yeah, it's always been based on the syllabus. Especially in
Mhm.
informatics, it's been very like the questions, like the topic of the questions have been very restricted to all these things. So that's why I
Okay.
put like the topics that you know.
Mhm. Yeah, the topic you choose will be very useful for the
Yeah,
participants, I
yeah,
guess.
formats and information about databases and formats. That's more than enough in bioinformatics.
Yes. Another question is like, what are the possible related research jobs which one can apply after MTech in biotechnology? If you want to comment, you can comment, or we can skip this question actually.
No, actually, I'd like to talk about the question.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so the thing is, if you're doing, it's highly. So if you're doing MTech in biotechnology, so it is. You have placements. Generally, you have placements. So that is a way to get a job. That's really a good way to get a job. Otherwise, mostly in IITs, what happens is that if you're under a particular professor, or and if you really like, mostly they have um, incubation centers. They have their own incubated companies and such. So mostly, and if you're performing really well under them, they themselves recruit you, or you have placements. So there are actually many opportunities after MTech, and then in case of placements, you actually have to develop your aptitude skills and all that, because there is always a aptitude exam for most of the jobs. I mean, most of them, they actually require an aptitude test, or if it is or if it is what to say, if it is a coding job, they ask you to like you will have coding exams and such. So even for those placement exams, you still have to prepare. So yeah, and mostly the exams and the placements, they look at your projects, like what kind of projects you've been involved in, and how you've actually tackled the problem, like what problem you've been given, how you've tackled the problem. So yeah, I guess I answered that.
Yeah, thank you. And regarding your current position, yes, you are a researcher at TCS. So, can you go through about your job roles as well as how bioinformatics knowledge is helping you in your current position?
Okay, so I am actually doing. So I've only recently joined my job. So uh,
Okay.
yeah, it's only been a month. I'm working in cancer genomics, and TCS is actually having a very good research program. They have very good research in bioinformatics. They've been doing a lot of research in bioinformatics. It's actually a very good opportunity, for bioinformatics, people to
Join.
yeah, join, yeah. So, and you have so yeah.
So, what will be the eligibility? Like any eligibility, like graduate, masters, and also PhD can join, right?
Yeah, you can BTechs, MTechs, and even PhD can join. But I don't really know about the current, the process in which they
Openings.
recruit. Yeah, because I got in from IIT Madras, and they go to a lot of IITs and NITs and triple IITs and a few other colleges also. But they're being very selective, like to the college that they go. So there is that catch. Yeah.
So there is one more question. Like, is there any specific reason for you to switching from plant to biomedical engineering, like
Yeah.
BTech bioinformatics to biomedical engineering?
I thought when I took the course, I thought it was general bioinformatics. That's what has been specified. But since I was
Okay.
in agriculture college, I was exposed to a lot of plants, and I really didn't want to stay in the plant background. It was just a personal preference for me to switch over to healthcare, and I really wanted, like, I was more interested in healthcare, so I made the switch to clinical engineering. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Like the next question is, what are the challenges you think for a computational biologist would be after like for preparing gate, or I guess the participant means preparing for gate.
Okay.
or other competitive exam as a bioinformatics students, because we don't really focus more into biology. We just go for the in
Yeah.
silico part databases tools.
Yeah.
So,
So I
what do you
guess,
think?
so there are different things, okay, scenarios in this. So when you prepare for GATE, so one thing, the biggest thing, most bioinformaticians don't write GATE BT is because of bioprocess engineering, because of that one paper that we don't really have. But I think if you put in proper effort, that paper is not very hard, and it also has a lot of numerical type questions. So even if you attempt it, you're not going to lose any marks. So that's actually that the only trick is to learn that paper, and beyond that, so most of the bioinformaticians that I've seen are like, we have to know what we're doing. Like we have to know what every single tool is doing. I think to learn what is really happening with the algorithms, I think that that kind of curiosity should be there, because generally like this is what I did when I was in BTech. Like I just generally randomly applied, this, okay, this tool will give me this answer, so I just randomly did that. But it is best to look at the statistics, and like how you should learn about how the tool works. So when you develop this kind of curiosity, you generally tend to become really good at learning stuff. That is the kind of skill that any recruiter would be looking for, and that's a kind of skill that will actually bring you up in life also, like that curiosity to know what is happening. Because this is what I did when I was in BTech. I just randomly like apply a particular tool, and just get the, okay, I put this input, I get this output. And that's not, yeah, I later learned that that's not how research is, or how you're supposed to do that. But yeah, you tend to do that when you don't have really good professors to teach you. So that is the main thing. Don't get you know um, lose your love or hate not like a subject, or find a subject that is boring because of your professor, or the person that's who's teaching you. I can really assure you there are so many materials. Like now we have so many platforms providing us so many materials to actually learn bioinformatics as well as other coding languages. So we have to be, self-taught. And don't lose the fire for the subject because of faculty or other things. It's always best to search out for yourself, search what you, if you like something or not, by learning it. Like, at least try to learn that. And then if you find it's not nice, and if you're really not if you're not really you don't find that very interesting, you can then leave it. But don't give up on a subject unless you really tried. So that's what I like to say.
Thank you. You just confirmed that like your interest or the curiosity
Yeah.
behind any subject or any tool will make you understand concepts fundamentally.
Yes,
So,
yes, yeah.
so there is another question, like not question, like I would like to ask, like, so what was your plan, or how did you execute, like for your preparation, like in a day, how many hours you prepared, or you just didn't do that
For
way, or
GATE.
the otherwise? Yeah, get.
Okay, so yeah, so when I was preparing for GATE, I also had my internship going on. So I would just come in. I would spend around 6 hours, 6 hours on GATE. Solid 6 hours,
Okay.
and then or like at least around 10 hours during my during the weekends.
Weekends.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's what I did during weekends was I took tests. Like I took my old the existing question papers. I tried to solve them and try to find the read the basics behind that. Just refresh it. Like even though you know that, you just refresh it every single time that you read it, so that it's like a it's like a very good revision for you. So I did that, and then I used to sit and read like for solid hours, especially bioprocess engineering, because that I wasn't exposed to that. So I worked a lot on that. And and also, yeah, so it's better to I used to make a lot of tabular columns and then just paste it everywhere, so it'll be like every single time I look at it, I just, okay, that's like a kind of revision. So that was my trick also. So yeah,
Okay. So your preparation is kind of a visual,
yeah.
graphical, and like abstraction, like places where you frequently visit, see, and then you get to know, like unknowingly, like unconsciously, you get to remember those things also.
Yeah, because I read this technique somewhere, and it really helped me. Like,
It's kind of a mind map.
Yeah. So one of the person who actually cracked gate had written it in somewhere in one of the forums.
Interview.
So yeah. So I used that. I made tables of the like the organisms and the products formed from the organisms and all that. So that's a lot to remember. Like you forget it. You tend to forget such things. So yeah, I did that, and that was really helpful.
Yes, that's true. I remember the pathway cycles, which are very
Yeah,
hard to
pathways.
memorize.
Yeah, pathways, and then even mathematical equations. I think that's because in GATE it's all about how fast, how quick you remember certain formulas.
Mhm.
So that is
Yeah,
the trick.
it's like
So yeah,
given the
you
time
cannot.
limit, you have to.
Yeah, because you cannot sit and derive it. You don't really have the time for that. So once you it's better to mug up the form. Yeah, it's actually very bad to say that, but it's best to mug up the formulas. Like, but you should know where to apply what. Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So, other than GATE, is there any specific exams for bioinformaticians? As you mentioned already during your starting of the presentation, DBT Bink, and it was closed now. So,
Yeah.
what other exams people can look for?
So you have to you can write. It's actually been merged into DBT Bet. So in DBT Bet, what you can do is you can. So there are actually, I think there are two sections. In the first section, there's actually a common section. In the second section, you can take bioinformatics as a specialization. So you can do that. But if you clear BET also, you can only apply for PhDs. You don't get to apply for MTech or MS.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, but with GATE you can apply for PhD, MTechs, and MS. So that's like a added bonus. You can actually with GATE you can actually apply for direct PhDs in a lot of places. That's it's actually a criteria. It's actually a given criteria. Once you crack, but for that you have to crack the interviews for direct PhDs. If you
Okay.
really want to do PhDs, also GATE will help you. So yeah.
Mhm. So, do you have any comment about the recent exam, GAT-B, Graduate Aptitude Test for Biotechnology, like
I
which is conducted by the Department of Biotechnology to have certain universities for master's degree, actually, particularly.
I really don't know that.
Okay, so that was a recent addition. So maybe that might be helpful for the participants who are interested to go for master's degree. So we are come towards the end of the session. So there is a question, final question. Any advice would you like to give for bioinformatics students who are looking for a job, particularly not interested in higher studies or research? Any comments you want to have?
So yeah, so I think it's only what you can do right now is to apply and then develop your focus on developing your skill set. Like aim at which company you want and what kind of skill set they're searching for. Like you just make a common a graph. Like see what skills are actually being required and trying to bridge that skills is the only way to go forward with job opportunities. I don't think there is any other way to look at job opportunities.
Okay, like
Yeah,
find the
like
company and then.
make a list of companies that is willing to employ a bioinformatician and look at the kind of criteria that they want, like, and then try to step up your profile, like bridge, like if there is any gap between that company what they're looking for and what you've done, and try to bridge that gap. I think that's all we can do right now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great suggestion. Like for participants who are looking for job after their undergraduate or master's degree, this suggestion would be helpful. Like look, take a list of all companies of your interest and then find what are the openings and then look for their qualification, like what they require actually, and then prepare accordingly. Then you will end up with the job. Like you will be going through a process where you will be finally finalized to be a employee of that company. So thank you very much for your wonderful talk, Akshaya,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
and for your explanation to all the queries patiently. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Participants, we are closing the session and the feedback links were already shared in the Telegram channel. So let's meet next week in another session which is on IPR. Thank you. Thank you all.